Hello and welcome to the tutorial for Establish Effective Workplace Relationships, Giving Feedback. Now, giving feedback is something that is a vital part of establishing effective workplace relationships, and it can be quite difficult to know if you're giving the correct sort of feedback, and it can sometimes be hard to receive feedback if it's not done in the right way. So let's have a little bit of a look at how it should be done. So, when it's done the right way and with the right intentions, feedback's the avenue to performance greatness. Employees have to know what they're doing well and not so well. For them to really hear your thoughts and suggestions on ways to improve, though, that feedback has to be delivered carefully and frequently. So, giving feedback effectively is a skill, and like all skills, it takes practice to build your confidence and improve. So let's have a look at some strategies of the best way to give feedback and really help you be able to plan how you're going to deliver that in an effective way. Okay, so when we're giving feedback, we want to try to make it a positive process and experience. So before giving feedback, make sure that you remind yourself why you're doing it. The purpose for giving feedback is to improve the situational performance, and you generally won't be able to accomplish that by being harsh, critical, or offensive. That's not to say you have to always be positive. There is a role for negativity and even anger if someone isn't isn't really paying attention to what it is that you're saying. However, this approach should really be used a bit sparingly. You'll often get much more from people when your approach is positive and focused on improvement as opposed to negative and focusing on everything that's going wrong. The second part is being timely. So the closer to the event that you can address the issue, the better. Feedback's not about surprising someone, so the sooner that you do it, the more the person will be expecting it. And I guess if you think of it this way, it's much easier to feedback about a single 1 hour job that hasn't been done properly than it is to feedback about a whole year of failed 1 hour jobs. And there is one exception to this, and that's if the situation involved is highly emotional. Here, you might have to you should wait until everyone's calmed down before you engage in feedback. And you can't really risk letting yourself get worked up and, run the risk of saying something that you're going to regret a little bit later on. The third point is making it regular, and feedback's a process that requires constant attention. So when something needs to be said, say it. People then know where they stand at the time, and there are a few surprises. Also, problems don't get out of hand, so this is not a once a year or once every 3 month event. And while this may be the timing of formal feedback, like performance reviews and appraisals, informal, simple feedback should be given much more often than this, perhaps every week or even every day, depending on your situation. This can be as easy as just saying to someone, "Awesome work, that's really great, thank you so much." So with frequent informal feedback like this, nothing that's said during the formal feedback sessions should come as a surprise, or even really be that hard for the person to hear because they've been getting prepared for it over the last however long. And you want to be able to prepare your comments, so you don't need to work to a script, but you do need to be clear about what it is that you're going to say. This helps you stay on track and stick to the issues. We also want to be specific about what the feedback is going to be. So we need to tell the person exactly what it is that they need to improve on. And this makes sure that you stick to the facts and there's a lot less room for ambiguity. If you tell someone that they acted unprofessionally, what does that actually mean? Were they too loud, too friendly, too casual, not well presented enough, offensive, So what is it? So remember to stick to what you know firsthand. So you'll quickly find yourself on shaky ground if you start giving feedback based on other people's views. Criticizing in private is a pretty obvious one. If you were to get some negative feedback in a public place, you're probably not going to appreciate that too much yourself. The next step is using I statements, and this basically just means giving the feedback from your perspective, and this way you avoid labeling the person. So rather than say to someone, "You were insensitive yesterday," which is kind of an aggressive thing to say because it creates a problem, you're saying you are the problem, say, "I was angry and hurt when you criticised my report yesterday." What that allows for is just for them to sort of see things from your point of view. They may not have considered that that might have been the case, and they can't see inside your mind. So using statements from your point of view really does help diffuse a situation. The next thing is limiting your focus, and a feedback session should really only discuss two issues. any more than that, and you risk the person feeling attacked and maybe demoralized as well. During these as well, you should probably also stick to the behaviors that the person can actually change or influence. Really, really important, and I probably should have put this one up at the top of the list, but talk about positives too. And a good rule is to start off with something positive, and this helps put the person at ease. It also lets them see what success looks like and helps them to take the right steps next time. And as long as it's not forced, it can also help to give positive feedback at the end of a feedback session too. Otherwise people can finish feeling that they, have just been stepped on, or maybe spoken down to, and it can really, really upset someone. And the last thing is to provide some specific suggestions. So make sure you both know what needs to be done to improve the situation. The main message should be that you care and you want to help the person grow and develop. So you can do that by helping to set goals and make plans to monitor and evaluate any progress. And if you do make that, you need to obviously make sure that the goals are SMART goals, so specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and timely. And make sure that the people, whoever you're providing feedback to, does buy into it as well. And you might not agree on everything, so it is worth to ask the other person what's it like from their perspective. So saying things like, what's your reaction to this? Or do you think this is a fair representation of what's happened? And then listen to what they've got to say. And this way you've got an opportunity to really build a bridge to really, avoid these situations happening again. Now, there is a technique in providing feedback, and it's called a lot of different things. It's called the feedback sandwich, which is a nice fun one. There's also, it's called build, break, build, but essentially it works on the same process, which is that if you're going to give someone feedback, you start off by praising them. So, listen, fantastic. It's been a really good work over the last 3 months. You've done really well in, settling into your new role, whatever it might be. You then lead into the area in which you want to feedback on. So the criticism in this case. So it might then be, however, we've noticed that you're starting to fall a little bit behind in your submission of assessments or whatever it might be. And in this criticism phase, you really want to provide them specific examples of what it is that they need to improve on, or what is the behavior that you would like to see change. And then you got to finish on a high note. So you could say, well, apart from that, everything else has been fantastic, and I'm sure that if you can adjust this or you can fix that, you'll go on and you'll kick loads of goals. It's really fantastic. So the feedback sandwich technique, praise, criticism, praise, or build, break, build, is a really, really good way of giving people a sense that they're not just being attacked. When you receive feedback that's all criticism and no praise, it's hard to feel motivated after conversations like that. So that brings us to the end of giving feedback. I hope that you guys have found it useful and that it's helped you with your thinking about your assessments as well. If you've got any questions, of course, feel free to jump onto the forum at any time. And of course, you can contact your trainer through the agreed methods. Until next time, best of luck with your assessments. Bye.